Alright, looks like we got one person starting. So, in this game, you have three main mechanics. You have jumping, you have grabbing, and you have dashing. We can't dash yet because it's the prologue and we haven't been taught how to do it. But we can jump and grab. Jumping actually speeds you up quite significantly. So you're going to see all the runners jumping around like they just don't care. And then this bird here will teach us how to dash. And then that's where the prologue ends and the real game starts off. It is worth noting that the game is timed in in-game time and not in real time. So we got Ranubris starting over on chapter 1. No joke on Summit. I like it. That's funny. So by using the three main mechanics of this game, jumping, grabbing, and dashing in tandem with each other, you can do all sorts of stuff. But basically, the main bread and butter of this game is dash jumping. And you can do this in three different ways. You can do a normal super jump by dashing and then jumping to interrupt the dash to carry all the speed. And then you can do an enhanced version of that called a hyper dash by doing the exact same thing while crouching. This gets you further and faster, but doesn't give you as much height as a super jump. And an ultra dash is the lowest, and that's done by canceling a diagonally down dash with a hyper dash. And this essentially makes you brake really quickly. In this game, the speed cap doesn't exist. So if you are going fast, as long as you don't do an action like landing or stopping that resets your speed, you can go as fast as you want, really. The sky's the limit. So by using all three of these mechanics in tandem, you can see the runners just, kind of just running around in Chapter 1, just making it effortlessly jumping through all of these challenges at a very quick pace. So we got Ranubris finishing up Chapter 1. UprightThumbs is just about to do the same. The runners actually opt to do something called neutral wall jumping, which in this game you can wall jump using one wall. Usually this requires stamina, but by doing a certain trick, by kicking off the wall and then immediately tapping back left, you can do it with conserving all of your stamina, which is a trick you'll also see later in Chapter 6. So we got Ranubris entering into Chapter 2, Old Sight, which introduces us to a couple of mechanics. We got these dash reset crystals, which essentially reset your dash when you hit them. And we've also got these things called dream blocks. Dream blocks are really cool. When you dash, you are carried to the very end of them and then you are spit out. This replenishes your dash and also lets you get really fast. And it's worth noting you can also jump out of dream blocks to keep the speed flying even further. You also might see, instead of traditionally wall climbing, the runners are opting to do something called a wall bounce. Essentially, you get parallel with the wall and you dash upwards and then jump off of it. It's basically like doing a hyper dash, except you use the wall instead of the floor. Ooh. So this thing chasing Ranubris on the left-hand side is, this is Battlein. If you've ever played a Super Mario Galaxy game, the Shadow Marios that chase you around, Battlein performs exactly like those guys do. So she copies every single move you make, delayed about 3 seconds behind you. And as the level goes on, more Battleins get added. So you have to be very careful with routing yourself so you don't accidentally run into yourself. A good example of this is right here where there's a switch, and unfortunately Ranubris is going to get hit by Battlein there. Let's see if we can get it this time. Alright, there he is. Good job from him. That's a very tight window to get through all of them, and now we got 5 Battleins chasing us. Anyway, once you finish up this chapter, the section both runners are going through right now is known as a wake. There's no obstacles in your way, no enemies or anything, so it's all about quick movement, getting through here as fast as you can. And Ranubris is going to finish it up. UprightThumbs just tailing right behind. I think he's actually ahead in the in-game time department. I love the names he gave all the levels. That's funny. Anyway, now we're going to be entering Chapter 3, the Celestial Resort. This chapter is where things start to get a little harder. It's very enclosed, which is a lot different than the chapters preceding it and following it. It's got a roof, and it's filled to the brim with these annoying little things called dust bunnies. These little dust bunnies, just like most things in this game, kill you in one hit, and they are cycle-based. So the runners know exactly what they're going to do, but still, they can be really obnoxious to deal with sometimes. UprightThumbs having just a little bit of difficulty grabbing that key there. It is worth noting that every time you run into a cutscene in this game, you can skip it by simply pausing and scrolling down to skip cutscene. The runners obviously skip all of the cutscenes because why would you ever want to watch cutscenes? Those are slow. So Ranubris is going to be picking up the key. He takes a death, but that's fine. You do maintain the key through death, which will actually come up again later for a small little time save. And now Ranubris is going to be entering the huge mess section of Chapter 3. Basically, there are these three types of blocks. We got chest blocks, book blocks, and bath blocks. First, we got to talk to Oshiro, who runs the place, but then we're going to start putting them away in order to eventually get us that key that's sitting there in the middle. That is our end goal here. So you can do these in any order in casual play, but the speedrunners do this specific route because it puts you closest to Oshiro when you exit the route so that you can get a move on a little bit faster. Ranubris taking his time, doesn't want to die to a dust bunny. Ooh, gets the spike jump on the first try. Very good from him. Right there, what he just did was something called a spike jump. In this game, spikes are a little weird. They only actually kill you if you are moving, or if you're not moving away from them. If you are moving away from the spikes, like if you're holding left and the spikes are on the right, even if you are inside of the spikes, the game won't damage you. So you can abuse that to get a little bit inside of the spikes and do a wall jump up that room to skip the entire room. There's also one other more notorious spike jump much later in the run in Chapter 7. Okay, the runners are just going to be cleaning up house, cleaning up their rooms. Ranubris finishing up book section, UprightThumbs entering book section. And now he's talked to Oshiro, so all he has to do is put away the laundry. Ooh, does unfortunately take a death there. Deaths in this game always send you back to the beginning of the room, so they can either be very costly or actually have almost no impact on you at all, since the timer pauses while you're dying. Ooh, he misses the lock switch there, has to go back for it. But thankfully he does maintain his composure and is able to save the... Oh, I spoke too soon, I'm so sorry. Commentators cursed the heck out of that. Feels bad, man. Okay, Ranubris is able to get through the room on the second time. That is an unfortunate death to take. And Upright does get the room on the first try, so he's going to be closing the gap just a little bit. You might notice they retry with the key in hand. In this game, when you have the key, it's interesting. The key state is actually saved, even through a death. So it's beneficial here to grab the key in this room that Upright is in right now. He's going to grab the key and retry, and that'll send him back to the beginning of the room so he doesn't have to walk all the way back. Having just a little bit of trouble with the room, though. Does finally get it. And now Ranubris entering the Oshiro section. So Oshiro, he's a nice little fellow until you make him kind of mad by wrecking his presidential suite. So now he's going to chase you. So we obviously have to escape from him. Oshiro will charge at you. He'll send a bolt of lightning across the screen just to indicate where he's going to actually charge at. And it's worth noting that when you get near him while he's charging, the game slows down, kind of goes into this bullet time, ultra instinct sort of thing. And that's actually bad because the timer doesn't slow down. So you are losing time by standing next to Oshiro because the game runs slower, but the timer doesn't. This final room of Oshiro can be very frightening for a lot of runners because if you die in this room, it is a very long and costly death since the room is insanely long. But Ranubris is going to get through it without taking a death. Let's see if Upright can follow that. Ooh. And Upright makes it through Chapter 3. Alright, over on Ranubris' screen, we have entered Chapter 4, Golden Ridge. This level introduces a couple of pretty fun mechanics. First, we got these blue bubbles. I'm sorry, teal bubbles. Excuse me. Which sends you in any direction one dash's length, and also refresher dash. There's also this wind, which can blow in either left or right. If it's blowing right, you get a boost from behind, and if it's blowing towards Madeline, so blowing left, you don't go as fast. And we also have these clouds, which boost you up if you release it to the apex. Not at the lowest point, it's actually the highest point in Celeste. I know a lot of Kirby enthusiasts will be a little will have a little time adjusting to that. Ranubris is going to take the block up to go through this little section. There is a small skip you can do by doing another spike jump that he opted to not do. So let's see if Upright does it instead. So as you can see here, dash conservation is very important so you can get to those rooms with the wind without, unfortunately, succumbing to death or deadly mismemorement or anything that comes with the price of landing on spikes. Ranubris is going to be clearing this room like a pro. Happy what? UprightThumbs just trailing just a little bit behind him. Alright, Ranubris is entering the heavy wind section. The wind suddenly decides, you know what, let's speed up. Picks up quite considerably. So now the wind is very strong in our faces, so basically the only way we can move forward is by dashing. And of course it also introduces our good friend, the snowballs. Snowballs, they work like a Mario enemy. If you touch them on the top, you get your dash back and you bounce off them, but if you touch them anywhere else, you're dead. You're headed to the Shadow Realm. Sorry, Madeline. Sometimes runners will use these snowballs to do advanced strats, since the cycles are consistent, but where they shoot out is not actually consistent. It's always on Madeline's X coordinate. Or Y coordinate, my mistake. But that can vary depending on where you are, so it's very difficult to actually line them up with cycles. And that is going to be Ranubris clearing out Chapter 4. Upright just having just a little bit of trouble getting through some of the rooms here. And now Ranubris is entering Mirror Temple. Oh, he unfortunately actually misses the bubble. This is one of the new mechanics introduced in Mirror Temple. These red bubbles that send you... They're just like the teal bubbles from earlier, but they go on infinitely until you either dash out of them or they run into a wall. Ranubris is going to be attempting a skip here, so let's see if he can get it. Alright, nice, he gets it. That skip requires you wave or hyper dash into the first half and then use a dash again. It is worth noting in this game, by delaying any action like a hyper dash or anything like that, you can still get it and also maintain your dash in the air. That's called an extended version of whatever, so extended super jump, extended hyper dash, extended anything really. Anyway, now Ranubris is going to be entering the Deep Temple, so he's just going to make his way through. We're introduced to these little guys here. These blocks will move when you dash. And there is a secret built-in shortcut here that is used for normally getting an item, however, we just use it because it's faster. Ranubris is going to make it through the long bubble room. And now he's going to fly all the way up to the top of the tower. Gonna step on these little green switches here, and meanwhile Upright just finished up Chapter 4. So now Ranubris has skipped a cutscene with a mirror, and now he is in control of what we like to call a Seeker monster. These monsters, they're pretty interesting, but for now we're just gonna run into Madeline, we're gonna kill her, and then she's gonna wake up in the Shadow Realm. I was joking earlier, but I guess that's what we're doing for real. Anyway, in this dark version of Mirror Temple, we have to skip 4 cutscenes with Madeline here, and then we have to make our way through a more twisted version of the temple with a lot more enemies. These Seeker guys, they're all over the place now, which we will see in the next room. So the way the Seekers work, they begin passive. They begin blue and passive, but the moment they lay eyes on you, they make a beeline to where you're standing at the given moment. But this can actually work in your advantage, because the Seekers can actually flip lock switches with their bodies. So by positioning them in places that are good, you can get them to help you out. And of course, just like the snowballs, booping them on the head does grant you a dash, and it also makes them tame for a little while. These red bricks that you're seeing here on Ranubris' screen can only be broken by a by a Seeker. As you can see there, he just broke the wall. And Ranubris is... Ooh! Okay, he is going to manage to escape that room without taking a death. Taking a death in that room is very bad because it takes a very long time to redo the room. UprightThumbs, on the other hand, is going to be entering his unraveling section too, which is what this section is referred to by the community. Now, Ranubris is going to be going for a skip here. This is one of the very first skips found in Celeste. He's going to do a reverse hyper dash. And he's going to go through that little spiky corridor there and then just barely be able to make it over. This skips about 4 minutes of puzzle solving that was intended. The developers actually knew about that skip, but they decided to leave it in because they love the speedrun community. So, shoutouts to the development team for leaving in a bunch of these skips. This room is very particular about how you have to do it. You have to basically hang on that block, and the lock switch is actually underneath the block, so you need the Seeker to hit it for you. And now, here's our good friend Theo. So, Theo is in a crystal here. He's trapped in a crystal, and we have to carry him all the way out. The golden doors at the end of the rooms won't actually open unless you're carrying him. It's worth noting that while holding Theo, you are incapable of dashing. So, the best way to move around with him is to throw, and then hyper dash, jump, and then re-grab him immediately. To go as fast as you can. But something that you wouldn't expect to be able to do while holding Theo that you actually can do is wall kick. Ooh. Seeker being a little bit of an issue for Ranubris, but he does manage to save it. So it's worth noting that Theo can't be killed by the Seekers, but if Theo falls into a pit or anything, he dies and you die as well. Since I guess you two are like spiritually linked or something. Oh my goodness, what the... That was incredible, wow. Ranubris using Theo to deflect the Seeker. The Seeker knocks Theo into the next room and he's free to progress. That was a 9,000 IQ play coming out from Ranubris. He's bringing his A game. Anyway, he is going to be finishing up his Theo section. All you have to do is dash through this long corridor with these shockwaves being produced by a giant eye. These shockwaves do knock you back, but if you're dashing, they don't. And he's going to just throw Theo right into the eye. And that's going to be the end of Chapter 5. Alright. Upright going for his own skip right now. Let's see if he can get it. Whereas Ranubris is entering Chapter 6. Upright is going to get the skip. So, what Ranubris is playing through right now is the introduction to one of the main mechanics of Chapter 6, the Feather. Feather is omnidirectional, unlike the rest of this game, which is locked to 8 directions. This thing can move in, I believe, any direction. It's degree-based, so any runners with an analog stick would, preferably use it. Keyboard players, sorry, you're out of luck. And Ranubris actually gets... I think he went for leg skip there, but I'm not sure. I wasn't actually looking at his screen. So in Chapter 6, the main mechanics are these feathers as well as something called crush blocks, which the community calls Kevin blocks. Those are the blocks that make the wah 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 sound. Those guys right there. You dash into them and they will dash towards the direction that you hit them on. So if you hit them on the top, then they will dash up, etc., etc. Ranubris is going to use some neutral wall jumps here to scale this wall without having to go the intended way. So the reason these are called Kevin blocks is because of the person who made the sound for them, Kevin. He was a good friend of the speedrunning community. It was quite humorous. There's a good clip of him making the sound. Meanwhile, on Upright's screen, we're actually walking through his Theo segment right now. see if he can get through while Ranubris is just kind of exploring. Oh my goodness, he narrowly avoids being crushed. 2 incredible saves in that room in 1 race. It's worth noting that you can end the feather early by dashing, just like most things in this game. There are multiple routes you can take in this chapter, and it actually depends on what you like to do, but most of the speedrunners do take the same route through this chapter. Chapter 6 also introduces our favorite pinball bumpers. They're, oh boy, pinball bumpers. You can dash in them to consistently launch in a direction. Anyway, Upright is going to be finishing up his Chapter 5 and moving on to Reflection. Ranubris is getting close to the chase section of Chapter 6, which I believe is in the next room. Yep. So now we have to chase Battlein for a little while, who is represented by these weird hair-like things. This Kevin block is actually faster to grab the side of because Kevin actually falls faster than Madeline can. Terminal velocity in this game is a myth. And Ranubris is going to be using a developer-intended shortcut here, just to narrowly go through those spikes. That was added by the devs because that room is very long. So a precise shortcut was added. And now we're just going to be going through the water here. Originally, this whole level was actually going to be a water level, according to Matt, but they scrapped that because it wasn't fun. This Kevin block here that Ranubris is on actually carries a lot of momentum. So you see a lot of runners dashing off of it in order to use some of that momentum to get into this next room here. And now we start the Battlein fight. So in this fight, you just have to dash towards Battlein and hit her a bunch of times until she walks to the next room, and then you do the exact same thing. Thankfully, you get some really good music to accompany it. Alright, now that you've had some time to listen to the awesomeness that is the Celeste soundtrack. The Battlein fight is more of the same, you just keep running into her, going through some obstacle courses in order to get to her. UprightThumbs is going to be soon entering his chase segment, and Ranubris is getting to the halfway point of this fight. In case you're curious about the soundtrack, it was composed by Lena Rain, and it is available on platforms for your listening enjoyment. It is a very, very good soundtrack. I highly recommend it. Anyway, Ranubris is going to have to do a little bit of dialogue here with Battlein, and then skip a cutscene, and then be on into the second half of the fight. There is a pretty humorous glitch that the developers actually left in. Upon hitting Battlein for the last time, you might hear a little wow sound. If you retry on the frame you hit Battlein, that persists forever until you hit her again. It was discovered but left in because it is absolutely hilarious. Anyway, Ranubris unfortunately taking a couple deaths in the very last room of the fight. This is a very long hallway, so deaths can be quite costly. Ooh, barely dodged that laser, and that is the end of the battle and fight. Now he's just going to skip a cutscene, and he's going to get leveled up. So leveling up allows you now to dash twice in the air. What did he just... Okay. And Upright is about to enter his own battle and fight. Very good reflection coming out from Ranubris. Only 4 deaths. And now we're going to be moving on to the final chapter of the game. The longest chapter of the game. The Summit. So, at this point in the story, Reflection Chapter 6 actually takes place at the very bottom of the mountain. You're knocked all the way down. But now that you have 2 dashes, Chapter 7, The Summit, is you climbing all the way back up the entire mountain again. So you're going to go through, you're basically going to retread old ground that is more difficult, but also you have 2 dashes. So you're going to make your way through all of the different segments once again, abridged versions of them, and finally you're going to have the final section of Summit. So yeah, this is bar none the longest chapter in the entire game. It is almost double the length of the previous chapter. If you want an example of this, the world record holder, TGH, I believe in his world record run, has a reflection time of just under 6 minutes. And his summit is just over 9 minutes, so it is quite the difference. Yep, the game is quite fun, I can confirm. So Ranubris is going to be making his way through the Chapter 1 segment. He's going to go ahead and finish it and move on to the Chapter 2 segment of Summit. So we get the return of our good friends, the Dream Blocks. Ah, the best mechanic in this game. But now that you have 2 dashes, the things you can do with them are pretty insane. With 2 dashes, you are now capable of hyper dashing out of Dream Blocks. It's a little risky to do, but the speed you get from it is enormous. Who's in the lead and whose audio are we hearing? Left and left. Ranubris is in the lead, and that is the audio we are hearing. Alright, Ranubris finishing up the Chapter 2 segment, whereas UprightThumbs is currently about halfway through his battle and fight. This theme that's playing right now is called Reach for the Summit, and it is a very, very good track. Anyway, Ranubris is going to be going through the Chapter 3 segment of Summit. This is themed after the Celestial Resort once again, and our good friends, the Dust Bunnies, everybody's favorite thing in this game, are making their grand return. Now just a little bit more evil than before. I'm going to be going through this room here, Frank or Z? The reason we say Franker Z there is because the pattern of dust bunnies in the middle looks like a dog. Oh, Ranubris unfortunately just short of touching the purple bubble. The purple bubble does reset your dashes and throws you up a little bit. This room can be tricky, especially because of the moving dust bunny at the far right there. I like to call him Bob. Bob kills you a lot in this game. So let's see if Ranubris can avoid an untimely death to Bob. He is going to escape the clutches of Bob and going to be moving on into the Chapter 4 segment of Summit. The rhetorical F. I can't speak words. The rhetorical with the bits. And now, Ranubris is going to be making his way through the Chapter 4 segment. We got heavy wind, we got snowballs, we got it all. Oh! Unfortunate. And Upright is going to be entering his summit. Trailing just about 5 minutes behind Ranubris at the moment. Alright, Ranubris having just a little bit of difficulty with this room. Looks like he is going to try for the fast strat. Alright, makes it through. Decides to forego the faster snowball strat and just do the safe road. He is going to get through the room, finally. There's actually escape you can do for this small little segment here, but it is rather difficult, so Ranubris opting not to. He's in the lead, he doesn't need to do it. UprightThumbs on the right, currently finishing up his Chapter 1 segment of Summit. And Ranubris is on the second to last room of his Chapter 4. Alright, going to be making it through, and now it's time to exit the Chapter 4 segment and move on to the Chapter 5 segment. So the Chapter 5 segment, the Mirror Temple segment of Summit, is home to one of the greatest skips ever conceived by man. Ranubris first, however, going to be going for the double spike jump, and he does get it on the first try. Very good from him. That is a very tricky and precise trick. It's a very tricky trick, yeah. Good wording there, Shay. Anyway, Ranubris is coming up to the greatest skip ever conceived by a human being. That's right, it's door skip. The most important and by far the most integral part of any Celeste run. It saves a grand total of 1.5 seconds. And Ranubris is opting not to do it like a true intellectual. He is opting to do door skip skip, which actually saves the 3 seconds you lose from dying by attempting door skip. So he's got a big brain, cosmic brain gamer. He's playing it safe. He just wants to get through Summit in one piece, and I don't blame him. Upright in his Chapter 3 segment of Summit, and is going to make it out of that room of almost no difficulty. And now Ranubris on the final section of Summit. This is 3,000 meters. And now we have entered the downdraft section. So in this section of the game, you suddenly become very heavy because the wind is blowing downwards. Don't ask questions. It's a magical mountain. So because of this, your jumps are a lot less effective. However, because you feel heavier, it can actually feel a little bit faster. So some players, like myself, actually prefer how this feels. I guess that's the inner melee player inside of us. And Ranubris is just going to be blasting through the final segment of the game. Whereas UprightThumbs is making his way through the Chapter 4 segment. And now Ranubris is going to touch the purple orb, which actually flips the wind from pushing down to now pushing you up. So we've gone from heavy gravity to now low gravity. And because of this, this part can be quite tricky for platforming. There's a lot of tricky obstacles to avoid here. This is the final gauntlet of obstacles standing in your way from climbing the mountain. UprightThumbs going for the auto-scroller skip and does get it. Let's see if he gets the second half of it, and he is going to nail that auto-scroller skip. Very good stuff from him. Yes, they are allowed to watch the stream to see how they are in relationship to their opponent. Since this isn't a randomizer, there's nothing to be gained. Anyway, Ranubris is going to be entering the final gauntlet of rooms. He's at flag number 6. I think it's actually number 5. My mistake. No, that's number 5, and here's number 4. So this is really the big final platforming challenge here. Whereas UprightThumbs is in his Chapter 5 segment of Summit, so he's not too far behind, actually. Just gotta go through that gap there. He's gonna touch flag number 2, and let's see if he can. Oh, he does take a death on flag number 2. And all he has to do now is to get to the big red flag at the top of the mountain. And skip the cutscene. And he's done it. Ranubris is going to be finishing out the game with a final time of 40:21. Very good job from him. So Thumbs, trailing just a little bit behind here, is going to be finishing up his Chapter 5 segment. Let's see if he goes. Oh, he's going for door skip. And he nails door skip first try. What a god tier gamer. Oh my lord. This man going for the big boy strats. What an insane player, really. Oh, but unfortunately, Upright takes a death at the very end of the room. That is unfortunate for him. I can't do an interview? Alright. GG's, Ranubris. Well played, my friend. Oh, Upright has to take another unfortunate death at the very top of the room. UprightThumbs having a lot of trouble with this room. Let's see if we can get him through it. He's just strategically waiting to show off double door skip, yeah. All right, Upright Thumbs does manage to make it through the final room of Chapter 5, and now we're going to be moving on to the final section of Summit, 3,000 meters. It is worth noting that the dash reset crystals also reset your stamina, as well as your dashes. So Upright, okay, manages to make it to the purple bubble. I apologize for the squeaky chair. I'm getting it fixed tomorrow. Now Upright is just going to be going through his last section of Summit. A little bit of buffering in the stream there, but he actually did not die. Are there different routes you can take in this game? Nope, it is a linear platformer. Now Ranubris just heading over onto the epilogue to see our finishing screen there. So Ranubris winning the race with a 40-21, 36 deaths. Very good run from him. So GG's to Ranubris. And let's see if Upright Thumbs can close his run out. It's important to note the little flags that Upright is passing do count as checkpoints there, so that death he took almost no time at all was lost there. Alright, Upright getting to flag number 12. Does go for that little skip there. And now we got the audio over on Upright Thumbs. He unfortunately does take a small death there. Alright, Upright is going to be entering the final set of flags now. He is at flag number 5, opting not to hit it. Goes straight to flag number 4. He doesn't need flag number 5. Flag 5 hasn't done anything good for anybody. So let's see if he can just close it out. Alright, manages to get to flag number 2. And does manage to go through flag 2 without dying. He's going to be at flag number 1 now, and he's just got one little final thing before he touches the red flag at the top. And that's it for Upright Thumbs. So he's going to be finishing his run up with a 45-45. GG's. Very good run from both runners. Ranubris is the winner. But GG's to both runners. Ranubris and Upright Thumbs. Very well played from both of them. Alright, I think we're getting Upright Thumbs in here for an interview. Just, let me bring him in here. Let me ask real quick. if we've got time for a little interview. Hey there.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Last time I did this, my microphone did not work. So,
Oof. Oh, GG's, man.
thanks. This run was quite a disaster. But for a disaster, I thought the final time wasn't that bad.
You did door skip, and you made me proud. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I got the door skip. That's all that matters.
So yeah, GG's to both you and Ranubris. How'd you feel about the run? Anything like particular?
My chapter 4 was a mess. There was a lot of dying. I think death was the main thing that caused me time loss.
I actually don't know how many deaths you have.
I can check real quick.
Is this a PB for you?
No, it's about a minute and a half off.
All right.
Almost 2 minutes. 70 deaths, yeah. I would like that a lot lower. I did have a lot of very long deaths on Summit in, was it 2,000 meters? On that last room.
Yeah,
I don't know what
that
happened.
last room was giving you a little bit of trouble, but you managed to
Yeah.
get through it. And it's okay. You saved 9 years by doing door skip, so
Oh, yeah.
you were just making it
Made
fair.
up for it. So,
So yeah, any final comments?
make sure you're prepared for the future when I get world record.
All right, I'm ready to see that.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, dude. You did great. GG's to both runners.
Yeah, good luck to everyone else in the tournament.
So yeah, make sure you go follow the runners. Their links are in chat. We got Ranubris the Beard and UprightThumbs. And you know what? You could also head over to my channel and also give me a follow. I'm not sure if any of you really are ready for that amount of quality though. But GG's again to both runners. Make sure you head over there, give them a follow, and all of you take care. Have a fantastic rest of your night, and be ready for more any percent from Celeste. This tournament is only just starting. We got, let's see, what else do we have tonight? I believe that there is currently a race going on Speed Gaming 5, and there will be a race on this channel at midnight between KVZ42 and Andy Perfect. So if you want to, stick around for that. But everybody, have a fantastic rest of your night. Take care, and yeah, peace out, guys. Make sure you follow.